Welcome back. Please, you are welcome back. You are welcome back. You are welcome back. We are live and direct. Please try and share the broadcast again. Network did not allow us the first time we came online. We have to do all we can to come back to you. Very, very important. Please confirm to me that you can hear me. Confirm to me that you can hear me. Confirm to me that you can hear me so that we can proceed. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Permit me to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to you, depending on your time zone. I am Pastor Maxwell Nnawuihe. This is a live broadcast. This is a live broadcast. We are live. We are live. We are just hoping that network is going to allow us. This is the second attempt to broadcast tonight. This is the second attempt to broadcast tonight. And we are trusting God. We are hoping that network is not going to truncate the broadcast again. Did Mazi Nnamdi Kanu sack his legal team? Did he sack his legal team? That is the focus of this broadcast tonight. Did he sack his legal team? That is the essence of this broadcast tonight. We want to know what is happening in the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. We understand what happened in the court on the 10th of February, being the last court appearance of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu at Abuja, Nigeria. We saw a very dramatic display. We saw the bravery and the outspokenness of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, making exceptional and very brave, frantic statements, both inside the courtroom facing the judge, Justice Bintu Nyako, and outside the courtroom facing the press. We witnessed what happened. Some of you watched some clips, some of you did not. Because of one or two engagements, you were not opportuned to watch the clips, to see what happened, to witness what really happened. It is important we look into it to understand properly what really happened. We need to do that. Very, very important that we do that. Did Nnamdi Kanu sack his legal team again? Did he sack his legal team again? That is the question that we are trying to look into, because that has been the question on the mind of so many people those that witnessed what happened in the court, those that watched the clip, those that read on the pages of the newspaper, those that came across certain posts on the social media, whether on X, on Facebook, and other social media platforms. This is exactly the question that is ringing in the mind. Did Nnamdi Kanu sack his legal team again? On the screen, you can see the members of the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. You can see the past, the present. You can see right on the screen I categorize them from number 1 to 3. From number 1 to 3. As you can see, very first image after Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. The very first image after Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was his first lawyer. His first lawyer from 2015 to 2016. We will be coming to that in details. If not in absolute details, we will be saying one or two things about his first lawyer before the number 2, which is Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor, and then number 3, the leader of the current legal team, Barrister Nnawuihe Ejimako. That is the third legal team. The first legal team is there, which was led by Barrister Vincent Egechukwu Obeta. He was the first legal team of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu from 2015 to 2016, and he was sacked. He was succeeded by Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor being the leader of the second legal team of Nnamdi Kanu in 2016. Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor led the legal team until 2022, sometime between 2021 and 2022, before Chief Mike Ozekome joined the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu and eventually became the leader of the legal team. And then that very second legal team was sacked. And the third legal team took over the legal proceedings, the court outings of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, led by Barrister Nnawuihe Ejimako. So you can see in the order of arrangement, you can see number 1, you can see number 2, you can see number 3. The third legal team of Nnamdi Kanu, are they sacked again? Are they sacked again? Please help and share the broadcast. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Those of you that have joined the second time, thank you. The first broadcast was truncated by network. We battled and fought very hard to come back. This is the second attempt in our broadcast tonight. So thank you for your patience. I really appreciate you, your time. I really appreciate you, your commitment in sharing the broadcast as well. I'm going to bring to you important clip, very, very important clip that you will hear from the horse's mouth. You are going to hear from the horse's mouth. You are going to hear directly from a member of the legal team if they have been sacked or not. You are going to hear from a member of the legal team if they have been sacked or not. You are going to hear from a member of the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. And besides what you will hear from the member of the legal team, you are going to add 1 and 2 together to see what actually is the status of the third legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. You are going to understand what is actually the status of the third legal team of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This is very important. This is very, very important. Now, I am going to bring to the screen. I am going to bring to the screen immediately. Please don't be tired of sharing the broadcast. Do not be tired of sharing the broadcast. Thank you very much for your understanding. This is important. That is the only way to get the truth out there. When I bring to the screen the important clip, then we are going to be looking at it one after the other. We are going to be looking at what the member of the legal team has to say one after the other to really understand their position, to really understand their current status with regards to their legal representation of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Yesterday, we dealt with a lot of issues that has to do with the closure or the end of the case of Nnamdi Kanu at the court of Nigeria. We dealt with that in great details by the special grace of God, with a lot of other examples, and a lot of other important, reliable, valid points and facts to prove that the case of Nnamdi Kanu has ended in the court of Nigeria. Today, we want to know the third legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. Are they still actively representing him? Are they still actively comparing or taking into consideration the fact that the case of Nnamdi Kanu has ended in the court of Nigeria? As I proved beyond every reasonable doubt yesterday, the third legal team of Nnamdi Kanu, are they still actively representing him? That is what we want to find out. Have they been sacked? Have they been sacked by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Or are they still actively representing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? We want to know. We want to know.
Actually, what happened this morning is actually uncalled for. You can see how the defendant Nnamdi Kanu decided to represent himself. He asked the lawyers with the legal team that we should stop, that he wants to speak, because Nnamdi Kanu is feeling that Nigeria is not fair to him. He's just a human rights activist agitating for self-determination with reasons. And one expected the federal government to address all those reasons that gave rise to this agitation. Of course, we will also discover that some other persons that are having this similar issue within Nnamdi Kanu. I'm talking about the offense of terrorism, Showore from the west, the president of Neti Allah Kato from the north, Sunday Wu. Their own has been settled. Why is Nnamdi Kanu still in the detention? And the people are saying that because he's an Igbo. Buhari did it because the president now Tinubu has come from the west. And this is not good for this country anyway. So we feel that there is still a room for them to withdraw these charges and so that we have peace. Of course, you now discover that the Court of Appeal, non-Court of Appeal is sitting in the whole of Southeast. The judges, the federal judges in the Southeast, judges of National Industrial Court, Federal High Court, Court of Appeal, they are not sitting because of the threats given by some persons saying that there is no justice in this country. So you can see how what Nnamdi Kanu is saying. I tried, though as a lawyer, is uncalled for, but I try to see his feelings.
Now, we saw you are trying to use so many unprintable names.
Yes, of course, which I did not consent to. Of course, because what as a lawyer, we have our rules of ethics, and you discover that when we are trying to calm him down, he said that we should sit down and walk away, that we should not represent him again. So he decided. So he's not the lawyer. So and I think the judge and the federal government understand, because many people have applied to the federal government. I said the federal. Many other persons have applied, has begged the federal government, please use political means to resolve this particular matter. Releasing Nnamdi Kanu so that we have peace. So, and then now the judge on the issue of the judge accusing herself, there is a substituting court order. That's what Nnamdi Kanu said. And what one expected the judge to first of all set aside that order. I don't say you give the order, you have the right to set aside the order. And even that to set aside the order, it will now give way for you to have the decision into the matter. Thank you and God bless you. Except he called us and asked us to continue. From what is in the court now, he has maybe because of today's proceedings. I even have said because I have a letter he gave me, and that letter has not been withdrawn. So if you wrote to me and asked me, I will withdraw. It's my pleasure. Maxwell is my name.
You react to today's proceedings, you see that the case could not even go on as planned, and now she has adjourned the case in a die.
Well, there's no way this case could have gone on anywhere, because in the first place, the court had lost jurisdiction to sit over this case since September last year. So we came here today on a limited appearance. We appeared under protest out of utmost respect for the judge and for the court, to listen to the court as to the reasons why we were invited before the same court that was recused in September last year. Nigerian public needs to understand the nature of a recusal. A recusal comes as a court order, and even non-lawyers are aware that once an order of court is made, the only way you can set it aside is to take it on appeal. Nobody appealed this order. The order is extant and subsisting, is still valid.
I want you to be listening. It's very important you pay attention very closely.
The chief judge that we don't even have a copy of the memo. So our submission on the record is that the court stands to be recused until that order is set aside.
Now, sir, the what is the
Well, Senate is a word of art for indefinite adjournment. So she had no business, the court, like I said before, even having the case before her today. So adjourning Senate or not, really, it doesn't apply. But remember that we had requested this adjournment Senate last year, but it wasn't granted. But now, well, it's up to the judiciary and the federal government. We are not the prosecutor, we are the defense. You throw the ball to us and we catch the ball. We cannot restrict the case. Let them do the right thing. Our client recused the judge, and the judge consented to the recusal through a court, consented to the recusal through a coroner. So we await the day that this case will be calendared before a new judge to try it. We're not afraid of trial, but we're afraid of injustice.
And I'm just scared that it might come back to her. What if it's brought back to her?
Well, under the Constitution, it shall be resisted. It will be unconstitutional to have the same judge who stands recused to recalendar the same case and try it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope you heard what I said. I want you to listen again. I want you to listen again very closely and very attentively, so that you will be in position to understand what actually happened with the third legal team of Nnamdi Kanu, so that you be in position to actually understand what is the status. Are they still actively representing him or not? That is the essence of this very broadcast, that you may understand what to expect, that you may begin to watch out, you may be in the lookout, what to expect, with regards to the case of Nnamdi Kanu in Nigeria. This is very important. Listen again. Listen again.
Go ahead. Actually, what happened this morning is actually uncalled for. You can see how the defendant Nnamdi Kanu decided to represent himself. He asked the lawyers with the legal team that we should stop, that he wants to speak. Because Nnamdi Kanu is feeling that Nigeria is not fair to him. He's just a human rights activist and agitating for self-determination with reasons. And one expected the federal government to address all those reasons that gave rise to this agitation. Of course, we will also discover that some other persons that are having this similar issue within Nnamdi Kanu. I'm talking about the offense of terrorism, Showore from the West, the president of Nnawuihe, Allah Cattle from the North, Nnawuihe. Their own has been settled. Why is Nnamdi Kanu still in the detention? And the people are saying that because he's an Igbo. Buhari did it because the president Tinubu has come from the West. And this is not good for this country in any way. So we feel that there is still a room for them to withdraw these charges and so that we have peace. Of course, you now discover that the Court of Appeal, non-Court of Appeal is sitting in the whole of Southeast. The judges, the federal judges in the Southeast, judges of National Industrial Court, Federal High Court, Court of Appeal, they are not sitting because of the threats given by some persons saying that there is no justice in this country. So you can see how what Nnamdi Kanu is saying. I tried, though as a lawyer, is uncalled for, but I try to see his feelings.
Now, we saw your client use so many.
Now, I want us to begin to take this very clip, one after the other, bit by bit, according to certain striking relevant statements coming from the lawyer that is being interviewed. You need to understand that whatever a legal representative of a defendant or anyone in the court, whatever his or her legal representative is saying publicly, either before the press or in any public forum where the public are listening or watching, is very, very important. Is very, very important. The statement of the legal representative of Maazi Nnamdi Kanu did very press statement or did very press briefing is very, very important, very, very critical that you understand. What was the question that was asked him? The question was what transpired in the court, both what happened inside the courtroom and, of course, when Maazi Nnamdi Kanu was addressing the press after the court proceedings. That was the question. His legal representative, you can see him on the screen, used a word that is quite unprofessional. That what happened in the court, not on the part of the government, not on the part of the judge, not on the part of the agents of the government, but on the part of his client, Maazi Nnamdi Kanu, that it is quite uncalled for. That Maazi Nnamdi Kanu addressing the judge right inside the courtroom, expressing what he knows by the law or the constitution of the country, which is the ground norm that's supposed to be the basis of the determination of his fate, of the determination of his case in the court of Nigeria, is contrary to the constitution. That was the argument of Maazi Nnamdi Kanu. That was the protest of Maazi Nnamdi Kanu. That was the expression of Maazi Nnamdi Kanu. That was a very strong case that he made right inside the courtroom. A member of his legal team is saying that it is uncalled for. A member of his legal team is saying that it is uncalled for. That his client looking the judge in the eye, telling her, you cannot try me in this court because you have recused yourself, even before the recusal of the trial judge, were learned by the legal luminaries and experts, by the constitution of the country, by the United Nations judgment, by the appeal court, by the Supreme Court, by the Federal High Court sitting at Nnawuihe on the 20th of January 2022. We learned from all these sources I've mentioned and many more that the trial of Nnamdi Kanu is a sham and a persecution and a subversion of the Constitution, in the sense that he is expressing his fundamental human rights as guaranteed in the Constitution of Nigeria and the United Nations charters and covenants and declarations on human rights and right to self-determination. We were also meant to understand by the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu, be it the present or the former legal team, that he was brought into Nigeria in a way and manner that broke international laws, which is criminal, which is called extraordinary rendition, rather than extraditment. He was not extradited to Nigeria. He was extraordinarily renditioned from Kenya to Nigeria. The process by which he was brought back to Nigeria to face trial is contrary to the Constitution, is against the law, is an international crime, which the Supreme Court of Nigeria upheld on the 15th of December 2023, rendering the process of his trial a nullity, unconstitutional, ultra-vires, which by the law he was supposed to be taken back to Kenya, from Kenya back to Britain, because we learned he traveled to Kenya on a British passport, which was seized. And according to the records, his traveling document, more especially his passport, is still with the Kenyan immigration till today. And taking into consideration all the persecution, all the torture that he has been subjected to for the past 3 years, Nnamdi Kanu took it upon himself to speak for himself, to defend himself, to express himself within the ambit of the law, within the circumference, the confines of the law, within the perimeter of the law, telling the judge that she has no right and she has no jurisdiction to try him in her court, which led to different kind of expressions, which is not contrary to the law, because the law permits that. And after addressing the judge inside the courtroom, he came out to address the press. Or rather, he was still inside the courtroom, but the court section had ended. And Nnamdi Kanu was addressing the press, as we watched yesterday, during the broadcast of yesterday. At the end of the press briefing of Nnamdi Kanu addressing the press, the legal team had a separate press briefing, which is what you're seeing on the screen right now. And a member of his legal team is asked what transpired in the court, what happened in the court, the outburst of Nnamdi Kanu, how Nnamdi Kanu addressed Justice Binta Nyako inside the courtroom while the court was in session, and how he addressed the press after the court session, The member of the legal team is saying that it was uncalled for. Now, listen again, because this is about trying to know whether really Nnamdi Kanu has sacked his legal team. This is the third legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. You need to understand that.
It's uncalled for. Actually, what happened this morning is actually uncalled for. You can see how the defendants.
What happened this morning is actually uncalled for. That is what the member of his legal team is saying. I have explained to you what he was referring to. I have explained it to you what he was referring to. That the way and manner that Nnamdi Kanu addressed the court and addressed the press and expressed himself, that is uncalled for. You need to understand what he is saying.
You can see how the defendant Nnamdi Kanu decided to represent himself. He asked the lawyers with the legal team that we should stop, that he wants to speak, because Nnamdi Kanu is feeling that Nigeria is not fair to him. He's just a human rights activist and agitating for self-determination with reasons. And one expected the federal government to address all those reasons that gave rise to this agitation. Of course.
Which is the truth. Which is the truth. With reasons. If Nnamdi Kanu expressed himself and addressed Justice Binta Nyako and addressed the press in the manner he did, is backed up with reasons, valid reasons, constitutional reasons, being protected by the constitutional provisions, with reasons according to the member of the legal team. Why would he then describe it as uncalled for? Why should he then describe it as uncalled for? These are things that people don't actually take into consideration. How can you make a contradictory statement before the press under the same subject matter? You said that it's uncalled for. How he addressed the judge, how he addressed the press, his expressions is uncalled for. And then you went ahead to add that he did so with reasons. If he did it with reasons, why should it then be described as uncalled for, unwarranted, needless? That is what he's trying to say. That is needless. That is not the right thing to do. But you are now saying that he did it with reasons. These reasons, are they constitutionally right? The answer is yes. Then why use the word uncalled for to describe his action in the court? Why then use the word uncalled for to describe his action, his outspokenness, speaking out the truth, voicing out the truth? Why should you then describe it as uncalled for?
Also discover that some other persons that are having this similar and who are fair to him.
Now listen.
You can see how it's uncalled for. Actually, what happened this morning is actually uncalled for. You can see how the defendant Nnamdi Kanu decided to represent himself. He asked the lawyers with the legal team that we should stop, that he wants to speak, because Nnamdi Kanu is feeling that Nigeria is not fair to him. He's just a human rights activist and agitating for self-determination with reasons.
Not that he feels that Nigeria is unfair to him. It is not a matter of feeling, it's a matter of fact. It is not a matter of feeling, it is a matter of fact. This is a member of the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu, and he's expected to know better than the layman. He's expected to know when you stand before the press to address a very important and critical matters arising. In the case that you are a legal representative, you must be careful the word you use, because words fly so fast. Because when you speak out a word and it is captured on a camera, it is very difficult for you to retract that very word. It is very difficult. It is not a matter that Nnamdi Kanu feels that Nigeria is not fair to him. That is not the matter here. It is a reality. It is beyond his feelings. His expressions cannot be tagged emotional. No, it is not emotional. It has gone beyond that. It is a reality. It is a fact that is staring everyone in the face. Everyone today, even those that didn't understand it in 2021, those that didn't understand in 2015 down to 2017, now they're all understanding very clearly that the country, the government of Nigeria has not been fair to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in his case. It is a fact. It is not a feeling. Therefore, it should not be described as uncalled for by a member of his legal team. No matter how you feel, no matter how you feel, your personal opinion with regards to how he chose to handle the case, with regards to how he chose to address the court, express himself, that aside, it is a fact of life. It is very clear. A man that has been subjected to different kind of inhuman and degrading treatment for the past 3 years, without access to his personal physicians or very good medical attention, expressing himself in this way and manner is right. It is within the confines of the Constitution, within the provisions of the Constitution. It is not uncalled for. It is far beyond his feeling. It is a reality. It's a reality. Did Nnamdi Kanu sack his legal team again? That is what we're trying to find out. Looking at and also trying to explain and expose the hidden facts and truths, or the unspoken truths behind this very press briefing coming from the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu after the court session on the 10th of February 2025. This will, at the end of the day, help us to understand if indeed Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has sacked his legal team the 3rd time.
And one expected the federal government to address all those reasons that gave rise to this agitation. Of course, we also discover that some other persons that are having this similar issue within Nnamdi Kanu. I'm talking about the offense of terrorism, Showore from the West, the president of Neti Allah Kato from the North, Nnawuihe. That one has been settled. Why is Nnamdi Kanu still in the detention? And the people are saying that because he's an Igbo. Buhari did it because the president now Tinubu has come from the West. And this is not good for this country anyway. So we feel that there is still a room for them to withdraw these charges, and so that we have peace. Of course, you now discover that the Court of Appeal, non-Court of Appeal is sitting in the whole of Southeast. The judges, the federal judges in the Southeast, judges of National Court, Federal High Court, Court of Appeal, they are not sitting because of the threats given by some persons saying that there is no justice in this country. So you can see how what Nnamdi Kanu is saying. I try, though, as a lawyer, is uncalled for, but I try to see his feelings.
This is an unprofessional statement coming from a legal representative of such an icon as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This is an unprofessional remark coming from his legal representative. It is quite unprofessional. I don't know what prompted him or what that convinced him that he should go ahead in front of the camera before the whole world to describe the approach of Nnamdi Kanu as uncalled for? Are you trying to indict him? Are you trying to indict him before the press? Are you trying to make caricature of your client before the press and before the world? Are you trying to condemn the expression of your client, his response and reaction within the provision of the Constitution regarding the way and manner that justice is being subverted and the Constitution is being subverted in his trial? Why describe the action, the response of your client as uncalled for? As uncalled for. Before the full view of the world, the full view of the world was watching. All this mainstream media who are interviewing this very lawyer, many of them are not on the side of Nnamdi Kanu. Many of them are on the side of the government. That is the truth. Many of them don't speak in the favor of Nnamdi Kanu. And you are granting interview and you are condemning the action of your client. And you are shredding using a very critical, indictful word as uncalled for to describe the action of your client, to describe the action, the expression of Nnamdi Kanu, which is guided by the Constitution. He was reading out certain relevant materials. One of them is the Nigerian Bar Association judicial policy and other relevant admissible materials to make a very strong case in the courtroom before the judge, Justice Binta Nyako, driving home the point that the judge has lost the constitutional right or the jurisdiction to try his case or to try him in the court. Everything that Nnamdi Kanu said in the courtroom and all the statement that he made before the press after the court session, is there anyone that is contrary to the realities at hand? Is there anyone that is contrary to the realities of his case? Is there any of the statement that Nnamdi Kanu made, whether inside the courtroom or after the court session, that is not a fact that is staring everyone in the face? Is there any of his statements that contradict the reality of his case, that prove him wrong? Was there any of the statements? The answer is no. So why are you now trying to sound so innocent or so lenient or so sympathizing with the trial judge who refused to abide by the provision of his judicial function as made available by the Constitution of Nigeria? Why are you now trying to sympathize with her? Because of how your client addressed her in the court. Did your client insult her? The answer is no. Did Nnamdi Kanu insult Justice Binta Nyako? The answer is no. Did he abuse her? The answer is no. Did he disrespected her? The answer is no. When he addressed the press and was bringing up all the hidden truths surrounding his trial, which has contributed to the extension of his persecution and incarceration in the DSS dungeon in Abuja, Nigeria, did any of the things that he said, did he make any contrary statement? Did he say anything that is contrary to the realities surrounding his case? The answer is no. So why are you that is a member of his legal team, why are you trying to condemn your client's expression? Why are you trying to condemn the exposition that Nnamdi Kanu made regarding the remote cause of his continuous trial, or should I say persecution in the court? Why do you condemn it before the press? Why are you condemning it and calling it uncalled for before the press? A member of the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. Why? Why?
So you can see how what Nnamdi Kanu is saying, they are not sitting because of the threats given by some persons saying that there is no justice in this country. So you can see how what Nnamdi Kanu is saying, I tried, though as a lawyer, is uncalled for, but I try to see his feelings.
Now, why use the word uncalled for? Why use the word unnecessary? Why are you saying that the approach of your client is unnecessary? Is it contrary to the Constitution? The answer is no. Did he make any contrary statement that is not proven to be real or to be fact or to be the truth or to be within the provision of the Constitution? The answer is no. So why use the word uncalled for? It is an unprofessional statement, as I said minutes ago.
We saw your client use so many unprintable names.
Yes, of course, which I did not consent to.
This is quite unprofessional press briefing by this very legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. Or should I say, this particular member of his legal team. It is quite unprofessional. It is quite unprofessional. And let me tell you, if you flip the other side and a member of the legal team of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is interviewed on this same issue, the lawyer will defend the government. The lawyer will say, yes, that everything the government said inside the court, the governor said inside the court, or the senator said inside the court is the truth. They will never fault it. They will never condemn the action of the government in the courtroom. They cannot condemn it. The legal representative of the government will defend the actions of the government in the courtroom. Why is the member of the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu condemning the action of Nnamdi Kanu in the court on the 10th of February 2025? Why is he condemning the action of his client? Why? In a press briefing, why? Why? You can express your opinion via the chat section. Why? You can go ahead, express your opinion in the chat section. This very press interview, this press briefing by the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu, how do you address it? How do you describe it? How do you categorize it? With the things I've said so far, the kind of word he is using to describe the action of his client before the press, is it right? Is it professional? Is it? Why should he be condemning the action of Nnamdi Kanu before the press? Why? Was it needed? Was he coerced? Was he at a gunpoint? The answer is no. Why? Even if the action of Nnamdi Kanu was wrong, you can decline to comment on that as his legal representative who is granting interview to the press. You can decide to decline making a comment on that. And the press will not insist. Even if the press insists that you say something about the action of your client and you know that it is wrong, you don't open up your mouth and begin to tell the press that his action was wrong. Why are you his legal representative? Why were you hired to defend him? Why were you hired to defend him? Why are you saying that the action of Nnamdi Kanu is uncalled for? Why? Why are you denying, instead of defending his action that is within the provision of the Constitution? Why are you denying not to consent to it as a lawyer? What kind of lawyer are you? You are his defense lawyer. You are to defend him. Why are you not consenting to his actions in the courtroom and after the court session before the press? Why? Why did you refuse to agree with him? Why? What is the reason? As his legal representative, why? Why?
Of course, because
Listen.
From the West, the president of Neti Allah cattle from the North, Sondigo, their own has been settled. Why is Nnamdi Kanu still in the detention? And the people are saying that because he's an Igbo. Buhari did it because he's the president. Now Tinubu has come from the West. And this is not good for this country in any way. So we feel that there is still a room for them to withdraw these charges and so that we have peace. Of course, you now discover that the Court of Appeal, non-Court of Appeal is sitting in the whole of Southeast. The judges, the federal judges in the Southeast, judges of National Industrial Court, Federal High Court, Court of Appeal, they are not sitting because of the threats given by some persons saying that there is no justice in this country. So you can see how what Nnamdi Kanu is saying. I tried, though, as a lawyer, he's uncalled for, but I tried to see his feelings.
Now, we saw your client use so many untraceable names.
Yes, of course, which I did not consent to. Of course, because what we are, as a lawyer, we have our rules of ethics, and you discover that when we are trying to calm him down, he said that we should sit down and walk away, that we should not represent him again. So he decided, so he's not a lawyer, so, and I think the judge and the federal government understand, because many people have applied to the federal government, they are saying the federal. Many other persons have applied, has begged the federal government, please use political means to resolve this particular matter. Releasing Nnamdi Kanu so that we have peace. So, and then now the judge on the issue of the judge increasing herself, there is a substitute court order. That's what Nnamdi Kanu said. And what one expected the judge to first of all set aside that order. I don't say you give the order, you have the right to set aside the order. And even that to set aside the order, it will now.
I hope you are understanding. I hope you are really following. I hope you are really following this very press statement that is coming from the legal team of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
From what is in the court now,
I hope you're following.
Because of today's proceedings, I even have said, because I have
I hope you're following. Unprofessional statement that is coming from a member of the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. This has been major reason why that his case have not really made inroads in the court of Nigeria, apart from the special grace of God and divine intervention. The victory that he has won so far in the court of Nigeria, all the glory goes to God alone, not the legal team, not the legal team, not the legal team. This you need to understand. That is the fact of life. That is the truth. And it's a very bitter truth at that. This is a member of the legal team. And you need to understand that he has been a member of the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu for a very long time. He has been an old member of the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. This is very, very important that you understand it. That he cannot boldly defend the action of his client. That he cannot boldly. This is in the full view of the world. If he could deny the action of his client, if he could not have that very courage to defend the action of his client, to defend it to the letter in the public, how are you sure that he can actually defend or work very hard to secure the release of his client in the secret? How can you actually be sure? How can you actually prove to us that this is a competent legal representative or representation of Nnamdi Kanu? That he can boldly and clearly and publicly deny, dissociate himself, distance himself from the action of his client that is protected by the Constitution. How can he then defend his client in the secret? How can he then convince the world that he is working very hard? How can the legal team prove that they are working very, very hard to ensure the release of Nnamdi Kanu behind the scenes? If this unprofessional statement could be made in front of the camera before the press and the whole world is watching, that means so many things have gone wrong behind the scenes. So many things have gone wrong in the secret. So many things have gone wrong. So many. They have misfired. They have missed so many shots. They have. I want to remind you that this is the third legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. And those who are still the members of this legal team, they were also members of the previous legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. And this is one of them. He has been a member of the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu for so many years till today. Look at the type of unprofessional statement that he's making in an interview before the press, distancing himself from the action of his client. The question remains, has Nnamdi Kanu sacked his legal team again? That is the question, and we are coming back to that. Listen again.
So he decided, so he's not a lawyer, so, and I think the judge and the federal government understood, because many people have applied to the federal government, they are the federal. Many other persons have applied, has begged the federal government, please use political means to resolve this particular matter. Release Nnamdi Kanu so that we have a peace. So, and then now the judge on the issue of the judge accusing herself, there is a substitute court order. That's what Nnamdi Kanu say. I want one expected the judge to first of all set aside that order. I don't say you give the order, you have the right to set aside the order. And even that you set aside the order, it will now give way for you to have the decision into the matter. Thank you, and God bless you.
Listen to the question that is being asked him by the press. The question is, does it mean now that you will no longer represent Nnamdi Kanu? Is that what it means? That you will no longer represent Nnamdi Kanu? That is the question that was thrown to him. This question was thrown to him, and he's about to answer the question. I want you to pay attention so clearly that you may understand that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu does not actually have a formidable legal representative. You need to understand this. And if you are dependent on the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu alone to secure his freedom, that means it is not going to happen. It is never ever going to happen. Whether it was the former legal team or the current legal team, it is never ever going to happen. I have said this several times during my broadcast regarding the case of Nnamdi Kanu. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Please to resolve this particular matter, release Nnamdi Kanu so that we have a peace. So, and then now the judge on the issue of the judge accusing herself, there is a substitute court order. That's what Nnamdi Kanu say. I want one expected the judge to first of all set aside that order. I don't say you give the order, you have it.
That was what Nnamdi Kanu said, and you said that what he did was uncalled for. That was what Nnamdi Kanu said. That was part of his argument in the court. That was part of his expression in the court. I don't want to bring back the clip of yesterday because that is not the focus of this broadcast, so that we'll not be distracted. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu pointed out to the judge repeatedly that your lordship made an order. There is a court order that you made. It was entered. You accepted the recusal, that you are standing down, that you will no longer sit on this very case. You will no longer try this case. That the case file should be sent back to the chief judge to be reassigned to another judge. Why are you then coming back again by the memo of the chief judge to continue sitting on this case, to insist on trying me in this court? That was the argument of Nnamdi Kanu. And his legal representative said it is uncalled for. Contradictory statements. Minute ago you said it's uncalled for. Minute ago you say he's right. Minute ago you say, oh, that is his feeling. Minute ago you say, no, you are not in support of that. It's uncalled for. You are distancing yourself from it. You are not consenting, or you did not consent to what he said. This is a member of the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu.
To set aside the order, and even that to set aside the order, it will now give way for you to have the decision into the matter. Thank you, and God bless you. Except
the press asked him, does it mean now that you will no longer represent Nnamdi Kanu? The press asked him, does it mean now that you will no longer represent Nnamdi Kanu? Does it mean now that you have been sacked? Does it mean now that the legal team has been sacked? That is the question now. Did Nnamdi Kanu sack his legal team again? That is the question that is coming from the press to the legal team member of Nnamdi Kanu. And this question reverberates all over the place. Is in the mind of so many people who watched the very press briefing conducted by the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu after the court proceedings on the 10th of February 2025. Does it mean that you will no longer represent Nnamdi Kanu? Does it mean that Nnamdi Kanu has sacked his legal team again? Is that the position of your status? Is that your current status as the legal representative of Nnamdi Kanu? Let us hear what he has to say.
That's what Nnamdi Kanu said. I want expected the judge to first of all set aside that order. I don't say you give the order, you have the right to set aside the order. And even that to set aside the order, it will now give way for you to have the decision into the matter. Thank you, and God bless you. Except he called us and asked us to continue. From what is in the court now, he has maybe because of today's proceedings.
Did you hear that?
Because I have a letter he gave me, and that letter has not.
Did you hear that? Except he calls us back to continue. Except he calls us back to continue. Except he calls us back to continue. And he made a reference to the court records. He said, based on what is in the court, based on what is in the court, what was in the court record of that very day, what happened inside the court. Did Nnamdi Kanu sack his legal team again? What happened inside the court? That is what he is answering to. Will you people represent him? Does it mean that you people will not represent him again in this case? And he said, except he calls them back. Except he calls them back. So, does it mean that they have been sacked? Does it mean that Nnamdi Kanu has sacked his legal team again, the third time? Does it mean? Is that the situation at hand? And from the answer of the legal team,
from what is in the court now, he has maybe because
from what is in the court now, it has entered the court record. from what is in the court now. That is what is answering. The press asked him for the records. The press asked him, does it mean that you will no longer represent Nnamdi Kanu again? And he said, except he calls them back based on what is in the court. What is in the court? The court record. The court record holds that
he called us and asked us to continue.
Except he calls them back and asks them to continue. So, from his own statement, they have been sacked. From his own statement, from his own answers to the question thrown at him by the press.
Except he called us and asked us to continue.
Did you hear that? Except he calls them back and asks them to continue. It is important you share the broadcast. I know that some people lost it because of the network interruption in the first attempt. We made a first attempt to broadcast, but network frustrated it, and we have to come back on the second attempt. And we have been on for the past 1 hour. Help and share the broadcast that others may know that we are live, we are direct, looking into this very critical matter of great interest, looking into it. It is not easy. Some people may not understand how weighty it is. Some people may not understand how heavy it is. Some people may not quite understand this very interview. Some people may not actually be able to lay their finger on what exactly is happening. That is why this broadcast is going on. Now, after this, you are going to hear from Barrister Nnawuihe Ejimakor, and I'm going to bring back to the screen the banner for this very broadcast, the thumbnail for this broadcast, and I'm going to explain a few things. Remember, this is the third legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. The first was sacked, represented or led by Barrister Vincent Egechukwu Obeta. He served as the leader of the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu from 2015 to 2016. And then Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor and Muoma San took over the legal representation of Nnamdi Kanu in 2016, before the emergence of Chief Mike Ozekome. And after that, the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu, led by Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor, was sacked, being the second legal team that was sacked. And then the third legal team, led by Barrister Nnawuihe Ejimakor. That is the question we are asking now. Did Nnamdi Kanu sack them? Has he sacked his legal team again? And from the answer that is being provided by the person you are seeing on the screen, the answer is yes. From his own answer, from his own response. From his own response. From his own response. From his own response. He said, based on what is in the court, except he will call them back to continue. That is his statement.
From what is in the court now, he has maybe because of today's proceedings. I even have said because.
Listen again. Listen again. Listen again. And then we move on from there.
Thank you and God bless you. Except he called us and asked us to continue. From what is in the court now, he has maybe because of today's proceedings. I even have said because I have a letter he gave me, and that letter has not been withdrawn. So if he wrote to me and asked me, I will withdraw. It's my pleasure. Maxwell is my name.
To react to today's proceedings, we've seen that the case could not even go on as planned, and now she has adjourned the case in a guide.
Well, there's no case, there's no way this case could have gone on anywhere. Because in the first place, the court had lost jurisdiction to sit over this case since September last year. So we came here today on a limited appearance. We appear under protest out of utmost respect for the judge and for the court, to listen to the court as to the reasons why we were invited before the same court that was recused in September last year. Nigerian public needs to understand the nature of a recusal. A recusal comes as a court order. And even non-lawyers are aware that once an order of court is made, the only way you can set it aside is to take it on appeal. Nobody appealed this order. The order is extant and subsisting, is still valid, and we're invited today to be informed about some memo from the chief judge that we don't even have a copy of the memo. So our submission on the record is that the court stands recused until that order is set aside.
Now, sir, the Justice what is the
Well, Senator is a word of art for indefinite adjournment. So she had no business, the court, like I said before, even having the case before her today. So adjourning it, Senator or not, really, it doesn't apply. But remember that we had requested this adjournment Senator last year, but it wasn't granted. But now, well, it's up to the judiciary and the federal government. We are not the prosecutor, we are the defense. You throw the ball to us and we catch the ball. We cannot restrict the case. Let them do the right thing. Our client recused the judge, and the judge consented to the recusal through a coroner. So we await the day that this case will be calendared before a new judge to try it. We're not afraid of trial.
Now, they are still supporting the continuation of this sham and this disgrace in the court of Nigeria. This is quite unfortunate. This is really, really disturbing. This is really, really heartbreaking. How long will you continue to catch the ball that is thrown at you? How long? How long will you continue to go to the court that does not obey the rule of law? How long? How long will you continue to in a trial that, regardless of the outcome, the government is not ready to obey the court order, the court judgment? How long? How long? How can you continue in a trial that your client is not even fit health-wise to face trial? How long? You have not been able to secure a good medical treatment services for your client. You have not been able to secure it. You have not been able to secure unfettered access of his personal physicians to him to attend to his medical needs. You have not been able to secure it. How can you prove that you are competent enough to secure his release? To secure his release. You have not been able to secure it. Unfettered access to your client. Every now and then, you are not allowed access to your client. Every now and then, upon your visitations, you are locked away outside a gate. Sometimes you are locked away somewhere, either in the premises of the DSS. Most of the time, you are not allowed access to debrief or to consult with your client to prepare him for trial. Most of the time, the most, I don't know how to describe it. The commonest thing, the easiest access you are supposed to have to your client, most of the time, you are being denied it. And the court does nothing about it. The government does nothing about it. DSS acting on the orders of the government. You have not been able to bring them to justice. You have not been able to call them to order. You have not been able to curtail the excesses of the detaining authority against your client. You have not been able to secure certain reliefs of the courts, to enforce certain reliefs of the court. You have not been able to enforce it till today. How can you guarantee that you are qualified, you are competent enough to secure